when I speak to my students about God, I invariably tell them, if anybody should say to you, do you believe in God? The only appropriate answer to that question is, tell me what you mean by God, and I'll tell you if I believe in that God or not. So, we're back to this question. Is this a New Yorker cartoon kind of God that sits in the sky in the clouds, an old man wrapped in a talit and a kaftan? Is it a Spinozistic God that we're talking about? Is it a God of the Jewish naturalist Mordechai Kaplan, the power that makes for salvation? Is it a Maimonidean God, knowledge, knowing itself? What is your image? What is
in? Say more about this?
What I want him to say more, and then I want you to say more.
I think you're in a minority on that point. I mean, I thought we both answered that question. He's to the best of his ability.
I did not. Sorry, I did not hear an answer. I did not hear an answer, Rabbi Boteach.
For me, God is He who fills the infinite expanse of space. It is He who is the origin of life. It is He who is the absolute moral authority to determine what is right and what is wrong. God is He who hears my prayer when I cry out in moments of distress. God is He who looks after the helpless, and God is He who I am sometimes very angry at for failing to look after the helpless. The essence of Judaism is the word Yisrael, He who wrestles with God. God is also He with whom I have a relationship. I have a right to challenge God.
Rabbi, you asked for this. You asked for this.
I asked for this. Fine. If I ask for it, I will then interrupt it. And
you asked for white noise. You asked for white noise, and you got it.
I will then address a question to Mr. Hitchens. Though the burden of proof is on the faithful for the existence of God, do you believe there is a discovery that can cause a paradigm shift, maybe advances in neuroscience?
Well, all the evidence so far is the other way. I mean, the heavens get emptier, if you like, all the time. I think the unraveling of the DNA string is probably the most conclusive recent thing. It shows us both that racism, where Rabbi Shmuley and I at least agree, and creationism are alike illusions. We are part of the natural order. We're not a specially created species. We have no unique privilege. We are only too aware that Darwin was right on the point of the stamp of our lowly origins. It's best to begin, I think, from that realistic understanding. Because bleak though it may be, at least it's realistic. It doesn't mean that we have to live without irony. It doesn't mean we have to live without humor. It doesn't mean we have to live without solidarity, or any of the other things that make life, A, bearable, and B, possible. You may or may not have noticed that Rabbi Boteach has been contradicting himself directly all evening. He began by saying that our good qualities, our heroic and noble and gentle and generous qualities, are innate in us. He's quite right in saying that. Yes, they are innate in us, or in most of us. Those who aren't psycho or sociopathic. That is precisely the point. Religion borrows its morality from us, not we from religion. God is man-made. And I can very briefly underline this point and make it not just an assertion on my part by putting it in the form of a dialectical question. Name me, if you can, a noble action performed or a noble thought uttered by a believer in God that could not be uttered by a non-believer. Right? I've issued this challenge in innumerable places and spaces now. I've not yet had a response. I await one. There's another question that goes with it, a corollary question. Name a wicked action performed or a wicked thing said by someone purely because of their religious faith. You don't even have to blink before you've thought of one. I rest my case. Thank you.
One